Welcome to the Elk Season Podcast, Season 2, Episode 27.
Episode 27.
Episode 27. We are the Chambers Brothers. My name is Harold.
I'm David.
And tonight on the Elk Season Podcast,
We've got a hodgepodge of stories. Everything from, now I forgot the list. Bears. We have weather, which we're going to talk a little bit about to begin with. We're going to talk about elk, believe it or not. And CWD's in the news again. And a few other things. So, for what it's worth.
So
Season 2, Episode 27.
Yeah, I think we might get 30 episodes in this year. That's pretty good. I think we got 35 last year.
Yeah,
all right.
It's possible that I might need to cancel next week because I got some stuff going on.
Okay.
So but watch out for that.
Probably the week after.
The week after, definitely cancel because
I'll be out of town. You'll be in surgery, and I'll be in Arizona.
I'll be recovering from surgery and all that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
So it's possible if we can sneak 3 more in.
Okay. We're gonna give it a shot. All right. It is Elk Season, the Elk Season Podcast, Season 2, Episode 27. Is that right?
Yeah. 20.
Episode 27. We did have episode 20, like 24 and a half when we tried to record one on the road.
Yeah, but you didn't do anything with that necessarily, right?
No, it was too much. The video was just too much.
I would say
that washboard.
My understanding too, the washboard, trying to record on a dirt road full of washboard is nuts. But I will say though, after you get through 20 episodes in a season, you're not required to remember what episode it is. So if we got the episode wrong, folks, that's just what it is.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm excited about some new elk content on YouTube. Some 2023 elk hunts are coming in, and not from the big names. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say it's not a big name. The picture I have on there, he's got 76,000 views. Right? It's a Samong Outdoors, and he's in there. He goes 12 days alone. The kid doesn't look like he weighs 100 pounds by himself.
I got to pull this. I'm pulling this up. I've got to.
You would have to watch the video to see the kid that's doing it. I say kid. He's probably 30, but he's just not a large framed fella. And but he packs in for 12 days and he shows his pack, and he's got cameras. He's got GoPros, he's got regular cameras, he's got batteries, he's got binoculars, he's got everything. So one of the things he's done different is he's going in for 12 days and he's staying in the same spot. He is looking for a very specific bull. He has trail cam pictures of this bull, and if he gets this bull, and I'm only halfway through episode 2.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's an episode 3 or if he gets the bull in episode 2. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm excited to watch it, but the pictures he has of the bull on his trail cam, I forget what he calls him, Bubba or something big, because his main beams are just so massive. He's just thick all the way up. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And I like not so much that and
this is YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to follow. I see that in your image here.
Yeah, there's one of the great things I love about elk hunting now is not only do you just get an elk hunt, you get to film your story and you get to watch it again and again. You can share it with your friends, right? You say, I just went out and I hunted this elk. This is the images and stuff that I got. I put it on YouTube. If you want to watch it, check it out. You want to see my story? It's a pretty good story. Check out the story of this elk. And, if you want to know some more details, if you watch the video and have some questions, come and ask me. But the fact that we can all record our stories and get them on YouTube and tell everybody our stories, and that there's enough of an audience out there watching those stories.
Yeah.
Saying, I identify with those stories. I like those stories too.
More GoPros connected to your body and recording as you go kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, so to speak.
Well,
I'm being a bit facetious with that.
It takes practice storytelling. I've tried to tell stories with cameras for a long time, and it's very difficult.
Isn't that the illusion that Hollywood unintentionally gives us? Now, there are people that have figured this out on the YouTube, in the YouTube age and the TikTok age, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's a reason why schools exist for filmography. It's just, it's mind-boggling. And when I learned hints of what that means when I took a photography class at the college. Like, this, composition of a photo.
Yeah.
My favorite photo was the one that actually got me a bunch of negative feedback from my peers in the class. Because people have certain expectations, but when you don't meet those expectations,
but it's still a cool photo.
It's
still a great photo. Right.
And the teacher actually had to step in because it was an anonymous thing. Everybody had their photos up because the teacher hung them up, but nobody knew whose was whose unless you knew what yours was.
Okay.
And so you would listen to everybody's feedback as we would get to yours, but you didn't know whose was whose otherwise. And so, but when you got to yours, and mine was sort of picked apart and attacked.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, I felt like that must have been more artistic because it created an emotional response.
Yeah.
So I took away a very positive response from that. Even though the teacher stepped in, he did it in a very clever way. He was very thoughtful about it.
Teachers are like that.
But
good teachers are like that.
They
really are.
And anyway, so
they could be tasteful and go, everybody shut up for a minute.
but there's a lot more to filmography, and I struggle too because I want to do stuff, but it's the editing and
it's failing. You just got to get out there and fail. Get out there and practice. When I started in radio and I started, I've recorded stories, audio stories. And just worked on just basic storytelling. And I thought that those basic storytelling skills would just transfer.
Right?
Just telling a story.
It's a transferable skill.
It's not. You just can't do it to video. Anyways, but it's okay. I'm excited to keep practicing.
Yeah.
Because I like the format, and I like video. I like telling stories. And I like watching the stories of these guys hunting elk.
And we got to get one of us getting an elk.
We will.
You got to just train me what you do so I can do for you what you would do for me.
Yeah. It is. It's a lot. It's a lot.
And as long as I don't have a dumb hernia or some other stupid health issue like a stroke or a kidney stone keeping me away.
I know. Same here. The clock is ticking on us both, bruh. It is ticking. So, take care of yourself. Every elk season could be my last, and I know it. And it sucks.
I'm eager to get on the road to rehabilitation. So I have my surgery coming up in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from a week from Monday. This coming Monday.
Okay.
And I talked to the doctors. Not the doctors, but they called me today, and I spent about 20 minutes on the phone as they're saying, okay, the procedure starts at this time. This is when you're actually going for surgery. This is the recovery period. This is what you can and can't eat. And this is what you got to do. And here's the medications. It was kind of funny because it was a lot. And I actually have a whole page of notes because I'm like, hold on, this is important. Let me take notes. And there was this aspect of what's in my chart because I think we've talked about me having a stroke on here before.
Yeah.
So they have my information at the hospital. Like, so it looks like you had a ruptured artery in your neck. I can't remember what the actual technical term was, but that's what it was. They didn't say stroke.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, if you're on medications, don't take them, blah, blah, blah. But they were like, but you're taking medication for this artery that ruptured in your neck. You could probably go ahead and keep taking that. And I'm like, well, when I was in there for the initial consultation, they said, don't take it the day of. And they're like, okay, don't take it the day of. But then they later asked, I go, do you have any history of TIAs? Which is what that artery rupture led to.
Okay.
So I was a little...
What's TIA?
Transient ischemic attack, which is a commonly referred to as a mini stroke, but there was nothing mini about it in my mind now that I look back at it. Like it was... It's just... what I have very... profound recovery from a TIA, but that could be the opposite if you don't get it treated. So, but my treatment is simply this little aspirin. But anyway, if I can take my aspirin, and she actually rebutted that. She's like, actually take your aspirin every day. Like they were so nervous about that.
Yeah.
But I was disconnected because I guess in my notes, why would those two things be separate? Like the TIA and the ruptured artery. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny. And it's not a criticism. I just was like, huh? Didn't you just ask me about my TIA? But
they're just practicing medicine. Like we're practicing elk hunting.
Yeah. So, and then really, there was no connection to everything here except that I don't want something to take me out before I take out an elk. Like it's me or the elk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So came very close. Had some amazing stories so far.
Yeah, and not a lot of time. Not a lot of time in the woods the past 2 years.
And it sucks when you have a medical reason to have to get off the dang mountain. I almost swore just now.
Yeah, I know.
I think about it a lot. It's surprising how much I think about that moment I realized it's probably better for me to not be up here.
I know. I know. And I'm feeling pretty busted up. I hurt my elbow in a bounce house a month ago. I told you about it.
Yeah.
I can't do a pull-up.
Oh, no.
I still... I still hurt myself every day. I mean,
Is
like,
that your pulling arm or your holding arm?
So it's my holding arm. So I can still bench press. I can still push with it fine. I do push-ups and burpees and even get a bar overhead. But moving, lifting, putting pressure on my hand and trying to pull like this.
That's crazy.
Anytime I use that bicep, this bicep tendon just screams at me.
I had a weird injury when I worked at Domino's.
Yeah.
Where I had to become right-handed for certain things.
Yeah.
And it was the weirdest thing. So if I were to hold a pizza in my hand here, I couldn't put pressure down like this. So I had to carry everything in my right hand. I had to be ambidextrous because it was like about a 2-week I don't know what it was.
Wow.
Some tendon or something in my left arm. Any pressure down like that, just down.
It's that same one. It's that same one. So yeah, my physical therapist told me to put pressure on it, but not to move it up or down or turn it. Well, there's another therapy where you get a kettlebell and you turn it, and even making that motion just is.
It's excruciating.
It's painful.
And I never went to a doctor back then for that. Maybe I should have, but
well, there's some doctors that go to the gym, and I just my wife runs the gym. I go, hey, can you talk to this guy for me? He goes, just come in at 4. All right, I'll just run back. All right, what were you doing? What's the story? And I go, well, I was in a bounce house. Typical Harold, typical 50-year-old man activity.
You're barely done saying bounce house. They're already writing out something.
I'm like, yeah, you're gonna need a prescription. No, so. And I fell and I hurt my shoulder. Yeah, like really hard. Still hurts.
We talked about that because I talked about jumping over the couch that one time and busting that.
Yes. So now I feel unbreakable, but broken.
Right.
But so sprained I can't walk. And the 55 archery season is coming up. And I've been staring at the roads on Google Earth, and I've been thinking about
that just recently because it's been enough of a presence in our hunting career that this time of year I start to feel that vibe, like it's time to go out there. The light is going away quicker, and it's crazy because you have to be on it to be hunting out there, and it's so challenging.
It is very challenging. Yeah, to hike 2 hours before
daylight. Remember what we talked about earlier this year about that zone.
Yeah. We can hunt we can hunt the national park or the rocks.
The state
City of
monument.
Rocks. The City of Rocks.
The City of Rocks monument.
Yeah, it's part of the national park.
Right.
It's a national monument, but you can hunt it.
Yeah.
So
it's something, I don't know if that's recent or new, but it's there. And I'm sad because I'm kind of out of commission,
there's a lot of good camping spots at City of Rocks.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good vantage points if you know how to rock climb.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't even have to rock climb. You can go up a different way and still get to a very high spot.
Yeah.
And glass for deer.
Glass. Yeah.
So, that might be something. Anyway, so that's also happening, but and the stuff coming in as far as next season goes. Yes, I've already started. I'm already afraid of how much better a shape I need to be in next year versus this year. And I had lost 30 pounds since last year.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat, and I'm
doing so good, and I go, man, I got a long way to go.
My challenge to me this holiday season is maintenance. Like, don't overdo it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see certain benchmarks. And I mentioned to you before we started the podcast today a benchmark that I wanted to avoid, but I still hit. And it's because this hernia issue has slowed me down so much.
Yes.
I'm not even going for walks around campus. It can get uncomfortable, and I have a 1 to 2. I mean, 1 to 2 level pain isn't much.
Yeah.
But I don't want to risk it getting worse. So
abstain.
I stand in class and then it starts to hurt, and then I go back to my office and I sit down. A lot of times it'll hurt worse, and so I'll have to lay down on the floor and let it go back into its normal position.
But your surgery's in a couple weeks.
On the 20th.
Yeah, and then convalescence.
Yeah, and then rehabilitation.
Yeah,
like but I want to maintain weight throughout all of that because I wanted to be to a certain weight by the surgery. Not going to make it, but.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't.
Welcome to the club.
Gain all the weight back, and that's the thing. I mean, I started off at 284, 286 somewhere, and I'm 255 today. So I'll take it for
Yeah.
now, but I don't want it to be. I'll tell you, seeing that weight on the scale when it started to go the wrong direction,
I know, and it's something about this cold weather that just makes me shovel food in
and beer.
like I can't like it. There's no bottom to it. Like there's just it doesn't matter. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I tell
In fact-
everybody after Halloween, calories don't count anyway.
You know, and I know that we're not maybe ready to segue yet, but I feel like this is appropriate to bring up.
Yeah.
You bringing up winter weather, and I see a ChatGPT thing here about El Niño events.
Yeah. So go ahead and pull it up and read the query and read the results. And let's talk about it in context to elk season.
Yeah. All right, ChatGPT. During a strong El Niño event, southern Idaho may experience several notable effects, including. Oh wait, I'm sorry. That's not the query. The query was, in a strong El Niño event year, what effects, if any, would southern Idaho experience?
So I was looking for specifically southern Idaho, and it gave me some general answers.
Yeah.
But the general answers, I think, are applicable for what we might be looking into this fall and winter. This winter.
And already I can tell you, I don't want to see that, but I get it.
Yeah.
First one says warmer weather conditions.
Yeah.
And that's associated with El Nino in that northwestern Rocky Mountain area.
Right.
Pacific Northwest specifically. Reduced snowpack.
Right.
Yeah. We've had some
But you're going to see reduced snowpack with higher temperatures.
Yeah, no, I
just
get it. Of course, just because the El Nino event is in play doesn't mean that'll happen. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for.
Well, right, and this is general.
Right.
This is throughout California, which is actually out of drought now.
Right.
In some area, and in most of the areas. And although Lake Mead and Lake Powell
Still suffering a
are
little
not
bit.
out of drought, this El Nino could help.
Yeah. Because it'll bring those warmer waters over and
Well, it's increased precipitation.
right, increased precipitation.
Although lower snowpack.
Right.
Because of warmer temperatures.
Right.
Okay. What else?
Flood risk.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just because of more precipitation.
And mild winters, which is kind of associated with that, and,
Yeah.
and stormier weather, which you had just mentioned. So, effectively, it sounds like we're looking at a little bit less moisture.
Yeah.
In terms of snowpack, not any less moisture in terms of what falls, just
Yeah.
possibly less in what stays for.
Right. Just less snowpack. More precipitation. More precipitation. So higher levels in the reservoirs, which is good.
Right.
Which is good for the valleys. But we want to put El Nino in context of elk season. So what would it mean? What might it mean for next elk season? And it's too soon. It's really too soon to speculate. I just want to set the stage and plant the seed of let's watch how the weather unfolds.
This last year we had late spring.
Slow spring. I call it slow spring.
Well,
If I remember, because we kind of as we talked about it, we're like, there's so much snow in Utah. There's so much snow in Utah. There's so much snow in Utah.
Right.
It's gonna flood. It's gonna flood. I go, well, only if it melts all at once.
right.
And every week I kept looking for more flood stories, and a few of them came in the early days.
I know that I was down in Salt Lake during a time where they were at like peak concern because of the historical 1980s floods.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But it was. I agree with that. Slow spring, late spring, but slow spring.
Yeah. Well, you try to extrapolate not only what your experience is, but what your hunting district is going through. Right. What is it really like up there? Because if you think about, it was a nice spring down here. It could be pretty rough. It's still below freezing every night until June. At least every night until June. Okay? It still gets down to freezing.
So an earlier snow melt, if there is a snowpack, so which means a faster spring, if I can use that nomenclature.
Yeah.
Which ultimately, I don't know what that would lead to. If it depends on what happens during the summer with moisture,
Right.
because if the vegetation dies off because there's a drought during the summer.
True. I didn't ask ChatGPT how does El Nino affect next summer?
Yeah.
So that would be spring and summer. That would be good follow up.
The next podcast, right? So because it's ultimately trying to understand how these all
affect
fit
the
together.
elk.
Yeah.
Fit the elk and their biology.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, what is the rut and the rut timing, and where are the elk going to be relative to the top of the mountain?
In retrospect of this last season,
yeah,
when did the rut start?
It was at 4:23 p.m.
Oh, shut up. What was your perception of when elk were really in the thick of the rut?
So
because the stories that we told over the course of September suggested they were kind of always in rut.
So I agree. As opposed to previous years,
right,
where we saw bachelor groups. We almost always see bachelor groups the first few weeks, the first 2 to 3 weeks.
It's possible that if you were up in the hills in late August before the hunt, you would have heard those elk finally splitting up from those bachelor groups and really working to get their harems.
Right. It could have been Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Right. And that was one of the coldest weekends of the whole year. Of the whole year. So I really think that we didn't see the bachelor groups, which was good, because we like the rut to last a long time, and so that's my perception. So was the rut early? Was it late? I would put it maybe a week to 10 days ahead of
what we usually see
of fall, of the first day of fall of the equinox.
Huh?
So typically, I typically see peak rut right at the equinox. It tapers off, in roller coaster waves, of course, and it tapers towards in roller coaster waves. But I would usually put the rut, pretty square on the equinox, give or take a week, or it's in that really big window. But it's gonna bleed off, up and down the calendar.
Sure. So this coming year, if the El Nino holds true, even if you have a certain summer, you're looking at a later possible rut. A later rut if it's a dry summer, an early rut if it's a wet summer, because the whole idea behind the rut is it's propelled by the availability of vegetation.
Right.
And so if you don't have the vegetation, it would be later.
Yeah, one of the things we'll keep track of as the year goes through when it comes to the elk is what are the temperatures in the mountains? Right? Because when is that grass available? Sure, it gets colder than freezing every night until June. Mm-hmm. But if it gets, you're not supposed to go antler hunting until certain times of the year because you put too much stress on these animals when they're starved. But if it's a mild winter, the spring is going to be a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
There's going to be a little bit more vegetation available. There's going to be less stress on the animals. They're going to have longer time to accumulate all the fat stores that they need in order to go into estrus. So I don't know. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things to think about.
But think about how we're able to talk about this way versus what we would do even 4 years ago.
Right.
So it's I mark this conversation as a signal of progress in our understanding of the ecosystem, the animal, what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those silly things. The more you pay attention to all the particulars of a particular something, the more fine-tuned you'll get with being able to accomplish whatever you're trying to do with that. And elk hunting is no different.
The grasses and the trees and the pine cones and the fires and the snakes and the coyote, everything that we see is all added into that. And because we're not keeping track, I'm not keeping records. I'm not writing down. It was 22 degrees when I woke up this morning to go hunting, right? So all this data we have is anecdotal. It's
sadly,
but is it sad?
It's not, well.
It's an aggregate of accumulated. It's an aggregate of anecdotes.
If you beat me to
Sorry,
an aggregate of anecdotes.
Yeah,
that's the next pod season,
which you call
t-shirt.
Wisdom or experience, at least.
Very wise.
To some would be
very
wisdom.
wise.
Yeah, a big enough data set is you have wisdom. Anyway,
yeah.
So we'll just keep an eye on it. That's all we're saying is we're going to keep an eye on El Nino. In the Intermountain Northwest and in the Rocky Mountains from Alberta all the way down to New Mexico.
Oh, but if there's a big storm, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we will. We will. And if there's another 900 inches of snow in Utah, we'll probably talk about that too.
Yes.
So.
All right. Where to next here, Chief?
I don't know. Those were a couple of the big ones there.
Yeah, there's you know what? We both posted to our little folder
Yeah,
the same article.
we did.
Let's go there next.
All right.
You ready for
well,
this?
you do yours first. You love a good dad joke. That's great. See if mine's better.
Yours, you actually had a picture. Mine did not.
Cha-ching.
So I think in one way you won, but I have more information because there's words with mine. At least
words. Ugh.
Arizona woman dies after elk attack.
What? I had that in there?
Yeah.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, never trample the hand that feeds you is the
Yeah,
idiom.
that's right. That's
That's what it was. Is we've talked about this time and time again.
There's
on
another
this
one.
podcast.
There's another one in the folder.
It's a bear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll talk
no,
about it. It's in New Jersey, but same thing.
But the thing is don't feed the wildlife.
Yeah,
They're not your friends. I saw a ridiculous headline just before you came over today.
yeah.
Man tames snake.
No, he didn't.
No. So
Domesticated at best.
put it in a cage at best. It's
Yeah.
not snake. You don't tame a snake.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen some pretty smart labradoodles.
That dog doesn't love you. It wants fed, and if you don't feed it, it'll eat you if you die. Just say.
The dogs won't. The cats will. The dogs won't. The dogs won't eat you. No, they will. If they're starving, they will. All right.
Let me quote. Let's see how loyal a dog is when they're hungry.
So yeah, it's just another example, really bad example of feeding the animals. And I know they're cool to look at. And we're seeing a lot of this in Colorado. Tons and tons of people have flooded into Colorado during COVID, and they've bought all these places, and they're out in the woods, and they don't know what to do with wild animals. And there's gonna be a lot more of this.
Oh, look, a fuzzy bear.
And we'll talk about it on the Elk Season Podcast. So let's go to another one. This one ended a little bit differently.
Pumpkin the bear.
So the bear is this is New Jersey. The bear is well known enough around the neighborhood. It has a name.
And it looks like it's competed in the fat bear contest.
And so people leave little treats out for it.
Yeah.
When a bear expects food. And
that becomes more dangerous.
That's very dangerous. When I had a really great conversation, and I'm going to go hunting with this guy, Ken Young. I had at the CrossFit gym.
Okay.
I was talking to him. He goes, because this was his first year, and I talked to him, and so we worked out together. And the whole time he's like, "Okay, is the coach done talking? Let's talk about elk." And so we were talking about all this stuff, and we were talking about backpacking in, and he's actually from Kalispell. He's like born and raised in Montana. And
sweet.
And God dang it, I lost track of where were you?
Well, you wanted to go hunting with him. We were talking about bears. And this bear.
So, that's right. Here's where I am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bears. I told him about the grizzly in the driveway. And he goes, "Have you heard of Night of the Grizzly? Have I told you about Night of the Grizzly?" Night of the Grizzly is a true story.
I know you've told me so much grizzly stuff.
In the same night, one in Idaho, one in Montana. I think maybe both in Montana. In the same night, bear goes into a campground and kills a young woman.
Eesh.
In the same night, in two different places.
Same bear?
Nope.
Oh, two different
bears. Okay. So what happened? This story is what spurred everyone to go, don't hike with a woman when she's on her menstrual cycle.
Oh,
this is the idiocy. Here is the context that Grizzly in the Driveway put around Night of the Grizzly. The context is grizzly bears go to these campsites all summer long eating garbage, and that's what they did in the 70s.
Yeah.
30,000 calories a day bears need.
There are Disney cartoons that depict this.
The horrible garbage of parks. But they're just used to getting garbage. So what did the park do? Well, camping season is over. Let's send our young volunteers out to the campground to clean up. Let me tell you something. You're not more angry in your car than when you're in the drive-thru. Right? The most frustrated you get is when you're hangry.
and you're behind the wheel. That's a dangerous combination.
Sure.
Right? There's that little, because now everybody has the two lines, and you're like, oh, that guy better not get in front of me. Oh no. And it's like an extra stress in my life. I do not need.
I never looked at it that way.
But that's what these grizzly bears are walking into. These grizzly bears are going to these campsites expecting and needing 20,000 calories, and there's nothing there, but there's a girl in a tent.
Or a person in a tent just happens to be those
It
stories.
just happens to be a girl. That's right.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's the context that they put around that story.
Anybody will do anything to spin a story.
Right. They will. And so this is why this is an issue, and this is what we're talking about, Pumpkin.
Yeah.
This is this bear, cute little bear.
We've talked about the Fatal Attractions, that show that you can stream, and I've talked about how there was a tale of it now in Oregon on the West Coast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bears. In fact, we would visit Vessa's family over there. They're like, watch out for the bears. We're chasing them off all the time because it was a wasabi farm, and there was actually holes in the fence. And we never saw any bears while we were there, but it wouldn't be uncommon for somebody to go walking on the grounds and see a bear that had gotten in.
Right.
But there was a Fatal Attractions episode of a woman in Oregon, and the laws in Oregon are like, don't feed the bears. It's punishable by law.
Yeah.
And this older lady was like, but I feed the bears. They're my friends. And would talk to people, and she would get fined and cited. Her porch, it was like an old wooden porch that you could like a wraparound porch. There was a guardrail, and the bears would come up, and she would feel safe on the other side of this railing.
Yeah.
Because they could jump over if they really wanted, but it's kind of up, it's elevated. But she would feed them through the bottom gap, like on the at the floor of it,
and feel safe doing it.
And one day, what they suspect happened, even though she'd been cited multiple times, she was feeding a bear some of this food, and the bear got antsy and angry and was just reaching through the bottom, grabbed her, and pulled her halfway through, and she like died because she was, there's probably more to it. I'm misremembering a lot of the details, but the whole point was,
don't feed the bears.
Don't feed the bears.
Yeah. Yeah. So this bear in New Jersey named Pumpkin went looking for food, couldn't find any food, found a goat, ate the goat, and now the bear has to be euthanized.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's sad on the other end of the spectrum.
That's wildlife management, though. We have to keep people safe.
You should, and you should, when you see bears, you should make a lot of noise and scare them from being around people.
Yeah.
Have a dog or something.
Yes. Oh, did you see the I need to start putting videos in our little folder.
Please do.
I think I may have told you about this. A guy in his house, and there's a bear that comes and gets in his hot tub, and he's just filming it. And he's like, oh, I gotta be quiet, I gotta be quiet. And I'm like, no, be loud and obnoxious.
Loud. Yeah.
And there was another video I saw recently of these people, and this actually, I should have sent you this. I'm kind of disappointed in myself.
Okay.
They were on mountain bikes.
Okay.
They weren't riding.
Okay.
They were stopped resting on a trail in Glacier National Park.
Okay. Yeah.
A grizzly bear comes out of the woods, and they're filming it.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen that video.
But they don't make much noise, and eventually something happens where a noise happened, and the bear ran off.
Yeah.
They should have made a lot more noise.
Yep. They completely reacted wrong.
And so do the people in the comments. If you read the comments, you handled that bear situation so well, and I can't believe you're an expert with bear handling, and oh my gosh. I'm not going to pick a fight there.
I don't read the comments.
I do, because it's entertaining.
I don't read the comments.
I read about 3 or 4 and I said I'm done. But that's how much 3 or 4 comments got me, was the angst of oh my gosh, the internet is such a bad place to reinforce horrible behaviors.
Yeah. It is. And YouTube and people that think rehydrated food pouches, the Samong Outdoors guy, he's packing in all these pouches. And I'm like, oh, of course he's already
Is
complaining
this him as
about
well,
it.
or is that something else?
No, that is drone deer recovery. That is a
talked about
deer
this.
that has been shot and does not know it's being watched by a drone. It was identified at a great distance with thermal imaging. Then they have a zoom that can say, "Is this your buck?" And the guy can look at you can see the blood on the deer from a drone, and the deer does not know the drone's there. The drone is high enough in the air, and it is not. I just love the drone deer recovery. This drone, man, if I could start a GoFundMe, I would just if I could do this, I would get one of those drones and just film wolves. I would just film wolves. I would like to watch wolves hunt.
This is from that episode, though.
It is.
Or an episode.
It's from Samong, yeah.
Is there something special about this, or you just want to make sure we talked about him?
I just wanted to make sure I got the name right, and I talked about him, and he actually showed elk footage in coming close to him. So I thought that was cool, and I just real quick wanted to take a picture of it.
That right there reminds me of that time, and I've talked about this tale here.
Yeah.
It was the last day of hunting season, my first year in the place where we hunt now.
Yeah.
Up on Morning Ridge.
Yeah.
It is just now. The sun is up, so I've only had the 30 minutes to hunt. I heard a bugle in the distance. I had been hearing it all morning, and then I'm covered in camo. I have my hoochie mama, and I'm like, all right, well, it's cold. You can see my breath, and I push the hoochie mama, and literally that far into the woods, about 10 yards. A cow just poked her head up. Yes.
Hello.
You can see the red of her eyes. You can see her nostrils, and it's crazy. And I have to tell this because it's important to remember that what's the micro? What's the Chris Rowe thing? There's 1, 2, and 3. Like it's
they want to see you first,
right? They want to see you first,
hear you second, and smell you third,
right?
Right.
So I was able to accomplish 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And I know that because she poked her head up, she looked at me, couldn't see me, turned her head as if she wanted to hear, turned back at me, and flared her nostrils.
Really?
In that order.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah.
So, anyway, and that just makes me think a lot of that.
Very cool.
She wasn't quite as exposed. All I saw was from her chest up. But she had a friend because when she took off, she took somebody with her. It was not enough noise for one elk.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a calf. There's a lot of cow-calf combos out there.
I think she had a boyfriend.
Yeah, maybe.
I have no idea. It probably was a cow-calf, to be honest. But anyway, where to? We're actually talking about elk. I just want to make that note because sometimes we don't talk about elk that much.
Sometimes.
For those keeping track and record at home, how many times have we said elk today? Elk. There you go.
Yeah.
This is sad, but it happens. Bull elk. It says bulk elk, but I think they mean bull elk. Unit 5 yesterday.
Yeah. So I see a lot of these. I'm seeing more of these, actually. I don't want to say a lot. I'm seeing more of these. This is an elk that's been shot.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it was not recovered. And it went to waste. And it's a bummer.
Yeah.
And I hope it never happens to me. And I can't condemn it. I don't know because I don't know the circumstances.
Right.
It's just that it happened.
You know,
and it's a bummer.
I think the hope you have is the hunter shot it, recognized they shot it, tried to find it, couldn't because it wasn't injured enough, but still notched their tag and went home.
Hopefully. Yeah.
That to me is an ethical move.
Yeah.
But not everybody
but a difficult one.
Because technically, if you can't recover the animal, if you can't find it, isn't there a rule that says you can hunt some more?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm
I don't
sketching.
know.
Don't take my word for it.
I got to get that far. I got to get that far in my hunt first.
And then, of course, nature is cruel. I thought we had talked about this one.
I think we did, but I just found a picture of it.
Just 2 bull moose dead in the water.
Yeah.
Exhausted from battling. They probably got in the water, and eventually one of them might have gotten exhausted. It pulled the other one down, and they just drowned.
Yeah. Crazy.
Ugh.
Crazy. And there was a story like that came out of the South Hills here in Idaho this last spring. Do you remember that?
I don't.
Oh. Well, we talked about it on the Elk Season Podcast.
I'm sure we did.
I won't be able to reference that for you, but we did.
Anyway, All I know is I like it when you have something that you threw in the folder that says Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. That's what I'm stuck on this image.
Yeah. I saw the image. I forgot what it was all about because I didn't pull up and read it. What does it say?
I don't know. It just says Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. I told you I get stuck there.
It's got that picture of that grizzly bear.
No, actually, it's a really cool story about human mistakes. Like, we're human. Okay,
Right.
You hope you never make this mistake, but it just says being cited for hunting without permission is embarrassing, particularly if you're the chief of operations of the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. And I would imagine that sometimes this isn't on accident, but I would imagine a lot of cases really are.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of private ownership, there's a lot of places out there, and it's hard to keep track of it all, even with Onyx.
It happens a lot less with things like Onyx, right? If you have an Onyx subscription and you can show where you were, then they'll go to court with you, right?
Yeah,
right. They're on your side. So, anyways, it's a lot harder to do now, and it should be really, really hard to do if you're a Fish and Game official.
You'd think.
Anyways, that's as the kids say these days. That's sus.
Almost out of stories here. Where else? What am I missing? I don't think I'm missing anything. Yeah, so we can go into a little bit of deer at the moment.
Yeah, there's some cool antlers. Some really, really interesting looking antlers on a deer.
Where did they go?
They look
It's
like carrots, like they're corkscrewed.
Yeah, they look.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's messed up and amazing. Yeah, corkscrew is.
Yeah, just
hold on. This deer
Yeah.
must have stuck its hoof in a light socket.
yeah. There you go.
That's what this like frizzy hair when you get electrocuted.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like yeah. Anyways, you see the picture on YouTube if you want to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
'Cause we'll put the picture up. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's I would sorry, I would have to use one of those to uncork my wine after this.
Right.
Like it's that good. Like that's bad to the bone, man.
So how many bottles of wine can you uncork at once there? Is he a 5 point, 4 point?
Well, you can do 4.
Okay.
You
All
can do
right.
4
yeah.
bottles. I'd take it. My wife would definitely agree.
Hey, I have a bottle of wine at home somebody gave me. You want to try it?
Sure. What is it?
I don't know. A real nice guy or a veteran. I see him on the playground every day picking up his kids, and he gave me some smoked pork one time, Ziploc, and I'm like, all right, that tasted all right. Anyways, he brought me a bottle of wine. It's corked. I don't drink wine. I've never drinking wine. Maybe I'll bring it over. I'll get a review from you, and I'll just pass it along.
Yeah,
okay.
we could do I'll do a live tasting for you.
Okay.
Because I've got a palate for it now.
Okay, awesome.
If it's bad, if it's not my liking, I will probably not hold back. Because
just tell me what to pair with it.
right,
tell
gotta
people
let
what
it
to
breathe, man. Gotta let it breathe. I've got.
Okay, all right.
I've got a way to uncork it. I've got a little thing to bring it down to like a 40-degree temperature.
Okay, I'll try to bring it.
2
I'll try to
minutes.
bring it. I'll try to bring it next week.
So the other story that I put in here you didn't post. I actually just saw an email from the Idaho, the Idaho branch of the Montana
You're
Fish,
right.
Wildlife, and Parks. Right. Mule deer taken in Unit 32A test positive for CWD, chronic wasting disease. So it's we know it can exist in deer, but here in Idaho we've only been finding it in elk. And so 32A is way up north, if I'm not mistaken.
The panhandle. You know what? Dang it! I don't have my phone. It's usually.
Wait, what?
I took a picture of all the hunting districts because I was looking at all the regs. But I think the panhandle's all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's all real low numbers up there. I think 32s might be salmon.
Maybe that's
that's central Idaho.
Well, I've got the app here. Let me see if I can pull up something quickly in terms of hunting and access of maps. Okay. Any Day Now app. Go ahead and load whenever you feel good and ready to. That is not what I wanted at all. I need Hunt Planner. That's what I needed.
Okay.
And that's probably going to give us some Explore Maps, Hunt Maps Center. Let's try that and see what that pulls up. It's still loading. And look what it does. It pulls up all the zones.
32A.
32A. Hey. 32A. Sorry.
Not salmon.
Not immediately
McCall,
salmon.
Lewiston on the other side, maybe.
Oh, north of Boise.
Yeah.
North of
Okay.
Boise.
Okay. So McCall area.
I think we
We might have hunted that area.
Yeah.
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 That's Horseshoe Bend.
Yeah.
Wow.
So McCall is right there.
Wow,
And
yeah.
then 32A is right to the left.
That's
of
Horseshoe Bend, man. That's where we were when we had to heat up the diesel.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were some nice looking deer up there.
Yeah, there were.
That's
Yeah.
a lot farther south than I was
Yeah.
hoping.
Yeah. I'm glad you looked that up.
Yeah.
You looked that up. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of
CWD north of Boise.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Have your animals tested. I if I
Always.
get an elk, I'm.
Yeah.
I mean, you got your elk last year, or not this year. Well, sorry, you got an elk one time.
Twice now, if we're keeping track.
But
They don't ask how, they ask how many.
But you had gotten your bull just as they were starting to realize this is something we
Yeah.
want to monitor more. So, but moving forward, I'm just
definitely
going to default
send
to
it
that.
in. Yeah. Is that all we had?
That there's one more, but it was a picture of an airplane
Yeah.
that was tilted backwards.
Oh.
If you let the first class off first, because
that's right.
all the second class people are probably still eating at McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah. So why was anyway? Sorry. Yeah, I don't know why I had that picture in there.
I don't know either. That's why I didn't really bring it up, because I wanted to think that it was relevant, but I suspected that maybe it wasn't.
It wasn't. No. So they say that you don't load an airplane from the back forward, because if you do, it can tip like that. So somebody said, well, we just this last week, I think United says we're going to load from the windows to the aisle. But that's a problem too if I'm with a 5-year-old. Right? And I have a window and he's got a middle seat.
Yeah.
Like, no, we got to go together. Anyways, I'm sure they'll figure it out. But if there's anything we complain about, it can be the airport. I am going to the airport. Are we meeting next week? We maybe not.
It's kind of
Okay.
maybe not thing.
Okay. So we'll see. If not, then we're definitely not meeting the week after, which is Thanksgiving week.
So we'll meet the week
Yeah.
after that, possibly, unless you're
Early December. Okay.
Yeah. I'll be in recovery. You can come see me.
We'll
and
visit.
see how I sit.
We'll bring some soft vegetables, maybe some boiled carrots, mush them up and spoon feed you.
Lots of water and maybe some stool softeners.
Yeah.
And mush that into the carrots.
Good. Okay. All right. We're not going to talk about that anymore. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you back here when we see you. Until then,
Be well. Stay awesome.
shoot straight. Goodbye.